Yeah, so I'm going to describe this using animal personas. And I'm going to go through 8 different personas that show up in a positive and a negative quality for each, because they all have both. The one that we're probably all most familiar with is the adult temper tantrum meltdown, right? And that one, the animal persona world, translates to the tiger. So the tiger is famous for acting out when they are really threatened. Like we talked about that curve, that's really the emotion that's attached to this one. But the interesting thing is they each have a positive quality as well as the tiger is also the early adopter. So you want to get them on board because they can be one of your best advocates. So they might be one of your most senior leaders when you think about your different players. And then there's some other ones here that I want to go through as well. So we have the sloth, which this is probably no surprise if you're a Zootopia fan, right? In the DMV scene, I have to mention that because everybody can relate to this one that's a parent. The sloth moves slowly. Sometimes they can be disengaged, but they do that because they are really into the details. So when you're thinking about building your change plan, the people that want all of the nuts and bolts because they really just care deeply about how is this really going to work in a practical sense, right? And then we have the wolf. The wolf, as you can imagine, can rally their pack. They can tend to be extremely negative, but they also can be the biggest cheerleader. If you can get them, they can get their pack behind the change. So they're very important to this. Then we have the ostrich. The ostrich is somebody that goes off into denial, right? We're talking about the Fisher model here. They're avoiding it, right? They've got their head in the sand, but the reason that they are probably avoiding it is because they're cautious. So we just don't think about it. We just see that avoidance behavior. Then we have the moose. The moose tends to be very popular whenever I do this exercise with teams. They're grumpy and they're emotional. And emotional is actually a negative and a positive quality, but it's really because they care that they're just so emotional to this. And it's funny when I tend to put these up there, people will think about people that they work with, but they won't internalize themselves. So it's so interesting. Up next, we have the mule. Probably doesn't need a lot of explanation, can tend to be very unproductive, but also introspective. We have the owl, which is really sometimes when I break these down, this tends to be a really popular one. The owl can be very controlling. It's usually somebody with great institutional knowledge that has been around for a long time, but they're also very passionate and they care deeply as well. And then last we have, but not least, the beaver. And the beaver is somebody that builds barriers. They think about the work that a beaver does, right? They're throwing out these things, but what they're actually doing is they're uncovering risks that we might not have thought of as a project team. So very valuable to see these different personalities play out.